Mother, this is my brother, and that is my father. The gifted system. Some are way too familiar with the practice, while others have no clue what it is. The term gifted, some people wear it as a badge of honor, while others look at it in scorn. To me, it's a reminder of my past. Hi, my name is Laurel Allen, and today I will be talking about the gifted system. The gifted system is regarded as the practice that helps children with high academic abilities. This topic is very complex, and I will specifically be covering the history of the gifted system, experts' opinion on the effectiveness of the gifted system, and finally, my opinion. Now, to start, you need to understand the history and the term gifted. The National Association of Gifted Children defines gifted as student children are youth who give evidence of high achievement capabilities in areas such as intellectual, creative, or leadership capacity in specific academic fields. The term gifted was coined by American sociologists Louis Terman and Lita Hollingworth, and their research and push for the gifted system got it to where it was today. Now, the story isn't as easy as that. It's a bit more complex. For starters, the gifted system is rooted in racism. Though this wasn't the original purpose, it got popularized with the desegregation of schools, and gifted schools were used as an excuse to segregate the schools once again. In the words of Michael S. Matthew and Jennifer L. Jolly, the use of the gifted and talented program was to prevent white flight. Instead of the focus being on gifted and talented students from undeserved backgrounds, the focus turned to keeping white students enrolled. This racism continues today as a majority of the students enrolled in the gifted program are either white or Asian. This has a lot to do with the enrollment process of gifted schools. There are two ways, one being teacher recommendation and the others being parents paying for the child to get tested. With teacher recommendations, though teachers may not mean it, racial bias is very present, and they may not interpret or sympathize with their minority students as much and deem them as gifted. On the other hand, minority families may not have the resources to get their child tested. These resources either being economic, such as money, or just knowledge on the gifted system and program in general. There's also the issue with IQ tests, which haven't been updated in the almost century they have existed, even though our understanding of IQ has evolved so much. Also, gifted students are often associated with mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and perfectionism. On the flip side, the gifted program has been shown to elevate a student's academic confidence and increase their creativity, as well as stimulate their minds. Now, this is a very complex subject with a lot of points, but what do experts have to say on the topic? Well, as you will see, there is a lot on both the pro and con side, and this chart is just a quick little help you thing as I cover most of the stuff on it. So starting with the pro side, they argue that it stimulates the mind, and without the gifted system, children would become disruptive in class, ruining both their education and their peers. They also argue that it helps with secondary plans. The National Association of Gifted Children says 320 gifted students who pursued doctoral degrees started with 50 times the base rate. They attribute this success to the fact that they were gifted. There's also the argument that the gifted system immerses a child in their creative endeavors and fosters an environment where they can be free to be themselves and chase their academic goals. On the other side, the non-gifted supporters argue that the gifted system doesn't influence academic achievement. In Jill Barshay's article, she references two studies, one done in 2011 and one in 2021, that argue that there's no correlation between test scores and the gifted system. They also argue that teachers aren't qualified to teach, and they often give their students busy work. This has a lot to do with a lack of curriculum and a lack of a definition for the word gifted. This has to do with the fact that education is held by the state. So each state has different standards of a curriculum for a gifted student and the word gifted. Now, what is my stance on all of this? I was a gifted child growing up, and my relationship wasn't the best, but I can acknowledge that there was some good in the system too. So I believe that the gifted system can stay, but it needs to be changed. For starters, the system is biased and only favors those who are fortunate. It doesn't matter what kind of minority you are, whether it be racial, ethnic, or even you have a disability, the system is not in your favor, and that shouldn't be the case. This is made apparent by the rigid enrollment system, as well as the disproportionate amount of minorities in the system. In addition to this, students learn via observation, and a lack of minorities can skew a child's understanding of who's smart and who's not. I know that when I went to school, there were a few kids who were Black like me, and it left me to feel ostracized and out of place, and no child should have to feel that way. Your skin tone shouldn't determine the worth of your education, nor should it determine your worth ever. The next problem is teachers, as a lot of the teachers don't know how to teach gifted kids and don't stimulate their minds. Instead, they give them busy work and treat them like machines. This leads to a bad work ethic and also a lot of mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, and perfectionism. The expectations are often too much. I still remember in the 9th grade where I almost got my first B since the 2nd grade. It left me destroyed. It ruined my mental state because if I couldn't get all A's, was I even gifted? Was I worth it? What did I have other than having all A's? It sent me into an identity crisis. And this wasn't an uncommon way of thinking at my school. A lot of people had these same thoughts. And by no means is that healthy at all. No child should have to feel that way, ever. This also ties into my final point with labels. The system is hyper-focused on labels, whether that be good or bad, and that shouldn't be the case, because these labels are put on a child, whether they're aware of it or not, and once it's there, you can't get rid of it. These labels cause discrimination, whether they're good or bad, and they should be disregarded. Now, there is good with the gifted program, and that's in the way of the amazing people I have met. This community that was built was incredible, and I met some of the most fascinating intellectual people ever, and it really fostered my own academic growth. So I know the system can work. It just needs a lot of shaping. My solutions is to fix the education system because I feel as if it's lost its goal. The education system should be aiding all children. It doesn't matter what the label is. All children should have the chance to be educated. In addition to this is specifically for the gifted system, the glamour of the word gifted needs to be gone because this glamour creates expectations that these students cannot keep up with. And once that label and that glamour is gone, we can start focusing on other issues. This is a lot of work, but I do believe it is possible to fix the system. In conclusion, I believe the gifted system should stay, but it needs to be changed. My name is Laurel Allen, and today I talked about the history of the gifted system and the term gifted, expert opinion on whether it's effective or ineffective, and finally, my opinion on the gifted system. The gifted system can often be overwhelming, and it's a lot. But in the words of my father, you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. You can only fix the problem one step at a time, and the first step is realizing there's a problem in the first place. Only then can we find a solution, and only then can we build a brighter future. Thank you.
8 minutes, 26 seconds.